is the point of life? What do we gain from all our work, toil, and strife? Ecclesiastes introduces us to a wise man who sought to give these questions a reply. This man, called the preacher, spent his life conducting experiment after experiment trying to supply a hypothesis. But to all his experiments, there was one consistent restriction he applied, one limitation under which all his experiments would come. He would only look for answers under the sun. He limited his experiments to what could be experienced on earth, under heaven. In all his tests and evaluations, he basically took God out of the equation. He let his sight be confined to only look at the world around him, and all he was able to find is that the answers he sought here on earth were vain, absurd, and impossible to define. And so he concludes, vanity of vanities. Everything is vanity. This is his most constant reply. For everything that takes place under the sun defies all sense, like chasing after the wind. It's a useless exercise. Vanity of vanities. Everything is vanity. And he is so passionate about this message and speaks with such urgency because the experiments recorded in Ecclesiastes aren't just philosophical, they are his autobiography. The preacher sought purpose in becoming knowledgeable and wise. He busied himself with learning until he surpassed every other mind. But the more answers he demanded, the more questions they supplied. So the more he knew, the more he came to know that as he increased his knowledge, he also increased his sorrow. And so, when knowledge and wisdom could not provide answers to his questioning, the preacher concluded, vanity of vanities, everything is vanity. The preacher tried again, but this time with something more tangible and immediate. He sought out pleasure and experience. Everything his eyes desired, he allowed himself to be given. He surrounded himself with wine and women, with food and riches. He sought out comfort and decadence, wild parties and explorative romance. He tried to find the point of life in anything that seemed appealing, but all of it was deceiving. None of it delivered purpose or gain, satisfaction or meaning. None of it was permanent. All of it was fleeting. So he concluded, vanity of vanities. Everything is vanity. Then he thought, if all our work is futile and the point of all our toil ultimately fails, then he would find a way to be content in doing the work itself. So he gave himself to his labor, to enjoying it and to doing it well. But no matter what he made, and no matter what he was able to make of himself, he realized wisdom, pleasure, toil, and wealth, work, success, or living wisely and well, none of it could make sense of the world under the sun. Nothing could give a point to life before death said it was done. And so as the preacher looked back on his life to find something he could pass on, he wrote his account to preserve what he learned before he was gone. And his account, found in Ecclesiastes, mainly records bleak reflections on his experiments in vanity. And while there are brief mentions of God, his ultimate justice and sovereignty, these truths above the sun are never brought down to his reality. And that is the true vanity the preacher's words help us name. That unless we look above the sun for answers, everything will be vain. For if we are to remain under the sun, there is only one solution the preacher gives to everyone, Simply enjoy your work and your food before your lives are done, because the answer you seek is vain and absurd, or there simply is not one. And all that is true if you are only looking under the sun. But the preacher is not the only voice found in Ecclesiastes' lines. A compiler wrote a conclusion to the preacher's words, like an epilogue or reply. And the author's advice is summed up in one sentence: fear God and obey his commandments. That's what should be stirring in our hearts as we wrestle with the preacher's disenchantment, that we need God and his word to know how to live in this world and to understand it. But for many of us, thinking about God doesn't really relieve any of the vanity. It's easy for us to get stuck believing that the pointlessness of the world will always win, as it has always won. We find it impossible to not get stuck only looking under the sun. And that is because, above everything, the only thing that can truly cut through all the vanity is that the God who is above the sun entered our reality in Jesus, who is God the Son. He removed the restriction the preacher applied to his experiment, for he brought heaven to earth to bring us life and show us how to live it. The preacher says knowledge is pointless, but Jesus says knowing him is a treasure. The preacher says our desires can't be fulfilled. Jesus says he is our ultimate pleasure. The preacher says riches never satisfy. Jesus says his provision is better. The preacher says all our toil is in vain. Jesus says our work in him will last forever. The preacher tried to prove our questions are unanswerable, but Jesus proved he is the answer, because the preacher says everything dies, but the gospel of Jesus says those in him will never. What is the meaning of life? Fear God. And we do this not by chasing after the wind, but by running after Jesus.